Time slips away in small moments, quietly shaping your future. You think you have control, but distractions pile up like grains of sand through your fingers. How can we protect our time to build meaningful success? Imagine the quiet hour before sunrise, still, untouched, full of promise. Most treat time like a river flowing faster than they notice. Yet, mastering time isn't about heroic effort or grand gestures. It's about steady choices, like a farmer sowing seeds before the dawn. What if your day's smallest decisions weren't lost, but planted? That alone would change everything. The Vanishing Hourglass. Have you noticed how days sometimes slip away, like water slipping through your hands? It's not one big chunk of time vanishing, but tiny moments you barely catch. 10 minutes lost waiting on hold. 15 minutes scrolling through endless posts. A quick check of your phone that turns into a habit. Those little pieces add up fast. Picture a busy coffee shop on a Monday morning. People sit with their drinks, eyes locked on screens, half there, tapping and swiping away their focus. Those small leaks? Over a year, they turn into weeks of lost time. It's like handing over a full paycheck without hearing the cash register ring. What's strange is these moments don't feel like much alone. A glance here, a few extra snoozes there, a slow scroll during lunch. But these crumbs pile up along a path you don't even remember walking. They trail behind you until one day you look back and wonder where the time went. I remember a friend who planned a weekend trip down to every detail, hoping for fun and rest. But once there, he was glued to his phone, chasing every buzz and ping. When he got back, he felt drained and surprised. The memories he wanted never really settled in. The trip was booked and paid for, like clocking in for work. But the moments that stick, they slipped right through. This slow drain of time isn't just annoying. It quietly eats away your chances, your growth, your meaning. It's like a garden path slowly swallowed by vines you never noticed until they block your way. The cost hides in plain sight. So here's something to think about. How do you catch these lost moments before they turn into years? There's a quiet kind of wisdom here, not in rushing but in careful tending. Next, we'll meet someone who treats time like a gardener tending a wild plot, cutting back distractions so what matters can grow. Imagine what learning from that might do for how you spend your days. The Silent Gardener's Lesson. Progress doesn't burst onto the scene. It's more like a slow heat under a pot, quietly turning simple ingredients into a meal. I once watched a man tend his garden every morning before work. No rush, no drama. Just planting, watering, pulling weeds. Day after day, the patch looked the same. Almost boring. But after months, it was full of ripe tomatoes, peppers, and beans. Not luck, just steady, unseen effort. That garden showed me something about persistence. Like a chef who trusts a low flame to bring out flavor. Steady work doesn't shout. It hums. It deepens. A paycheck doesn't grow from one late night. It builds hour by hour, week by week. Skills don't sharpen in a flash. They come from daily practice. Think about the neighbor who picked up guitar. Not from one jam session, but from countless finger drills that felt tedious at first. Most people don't see how these small moments add up. Days slip away with missed chances. Weeks fade in hesitation. Progress is a river flowing forward, never backward. It moves quietly in small steps. Those steps add up to years, either lost or gained. Here's the tricky part. Steady effort feels slow. It can be frustrating. The payoff hides beneath the surface. So how do you keep going when you don't see change? That's where many get pulled off course. chasing quick wins instead. What draws you away from steady growth? That's what we'll dive into next, in what I call the Distraction Mirage. The Distraction Mirage. I once watched a mechanic who didn't just fix engines, he treated every repair like a race against time. Each morning, he dove under hoods with precise moves and clear intent. By closing time, the engines he worked on were already humming smoother, even though the road ahead stretched miles beyond sight. Time feels like fuel. You pour it into the tank without a gauge, but eventually, you notice whether you're cruising or stalled on the side. Now, look at most of us. We let hours idle away, responding to every buzz and beep, like a driver distracted by the dashboard lights. I've caught myself stuck in those moments, scrolling late into the night, watching the clock's hands circle, while my thoughts spin out like tires on gravel. It's easy to think of this as a pause, but really it's fuel wasted, turning potential into smoke. The mechanic's workbench reminds me, you tune your time the way you tune an engine. What you fine-tune moves you forward. What you neglect breaks down. The pressure to react, to answer every notification, chase every distraction, vent every frustration, is like a mirage on a hot highway. It promises control, but snatches your steering wheel. So, what happens when your daily routines leave you stranded in the slow lane? When distractions drain your engine more than the work you want to do? There's a way back on track, but I'm holding the wrench that shows you how. Until you take it, ask yourself, who's in the driver's seat? The mechanic or the mirage? The ladder against the wrong wall. We all start with a goal in mind, and yet, years can slip by like leaves on a fast-moving river, while we climb a ladder propped up against the utterly wrong wall. This is more common than you think. Folks complain they don't have enough time, but the truth? It's not a shortage of hours. It's trading moments for distractions. Those distractions aren't little blips. They're the slow drip eroding your focus, pulling you away from the real target. Take a moment to think about an old office building in your town. You see someone racing up the stairwell, sweating, determined. But the door at the top, it's locked. The stairwell leads to an empty rooftop, not the floor they needed. Years burned climbing, but the destination was wrong. I once knew a friend who chased a career path because it looked good on paper. She put in long nights, skipped weekends, and banked her self-worth on promotions that never felt like wins. 10 years in, she realized she'd built her life around someone else's yardstick. That moment was like stepping off a treadmill that's been speeding up. You can't help but ask, what did I actually invest in? That's the cost of unfocused time. Years spent moving without meaning. The problem often lies in how we answer the everyday question, what's worth my minutes right now? Most people let their attention scatter, like leaves in a windstorm. Phones, emails, side projects, the noise of wanting to do everything. Not enough time becomes a chorus, but really it's a story about where the time slipped through the cracks. Here's the quiet sting. Even if you catch the ladder, the wall might still be wrong. What if the real breakthrough isn't working longer or harder, but stepping back, checking if your climb leads anywhere at all? How do you know when to switch walls before the sun sets on your best years? That question hangs there, begging for an answer. And the next step might surprise you. The quiet hour before sunrise. Now, I once watched a small community garden in a neighborhood where everyone had their hands in the dirt. It wasn't the roses or tomatoes that took up all the space. It was the wild grass and stubborn weeds, sprawling unchecked. The gardener, an older man, explained it plain. If you water every weed in a garden, the flowers will struggle to grow. It stuck with me, because time works the same way. You don't get more minutes in a day. You only get the minutes you protect carefully. A paycheck might feel like a stream that flows endlessly. But what if you spent every cent on snacks and quick fixes? No savings, no refunds, no safety net. The hours in your day work like that. You can be busy all day long, rushing from one task to another. But if none of those tasks truly matter, your progress shrinks. The people who succeed don't stretch time. They treat each moment like it's precious. Like a rare coin you don't casually toss into the fountain. Instead of scattering energy across a dozen things, they pick one or two priorities and guard those fiercely. It's like clearing out the brambles in that garden so the fruit trees get sunlight and room to grow. I've seen too many neighbors in my town caught in the trap of endless busyness. They fill their days with errands and emails, meetings and messages, yet the real goals, the projects that push them forward, get lost under the noise. And why? Because nature fills your time. If you don't choose what to nurture, distractions take root. What if the secret isn't in racing to fill the clock, but in deciding which seeds deserve water? How do you decide what's worth your time when everything screams for attention? That question is what separates motion from progress, and it's a question we'll return to, because guarding your moments means more than just picking tasks. Time slips away in small moments, quietly shaping your future. Protecting your time means recognizing its true value, much like the still, soft hour before dawn. When you start treating your days with that kind of reverence, every decision becomes a deliberate brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Success isn't some distant finish line. It's the gentle unfolding of purpose, day by day, choice by choice. Like a spine that holds you upright, your relationship with time supports everything you build. If this perspective resonates, consider exploring more speeches and writings on mastering time for lasting success.